out that I would not be able to physically handle being in an airplane.
Wow, you got an
I think
airplane?
I would freak out.
Airplane?
I would freak out, and I wouldn't even get through security. They would want to search me, and I would paranoid, and I would wind up in Guantanamo Bay.
I can see that, actually.
I would start quoting the Constitution, no. Start spouting Alex Jones, 9/11 Truth, something.
Oh gosh.
But anyway, to get back to, I don't even know what happened to the show. We're talking about a movie, but anyway, let's get back to Stain, because
yes,
we actually briefly talked about this on the first show, and I don't know what rank it is now, but I remember one of the last times I talked to you, because Stained, which is kind of weird that it's still playing at a festival, and it just got, when was it released on DVD and stuff?
You know what, though? When I applied to HorrorQuest, we weren't out anywhere. So it literally, you programmed us, and then pretty well, a month later or something, I got my U.S. distributor. So literally, It wasn't, it was kind of unplanned as things go. I literally thought you were going to be my debut, because in the States. Yeah, so that was why it wasn't I had secretly already got myself a U.S.
Well, it wasn't
distributor.
And you were planning it. Let's not tell Joe that. But how did that come about? Was it at another festival?
No, you know what? The thing about my film compared to maybe a lot of indies that went out is that I actually had to pre-sell everything just to get it financed. So I had an international distributor. I had a Canadian distributor who's E1, and then I had an international distributor, which was Thunderbird. But Thunderbird doesn't really do feature films. It was almost like a favor to me that they took it on, and they really wanted to get let me have my first shot at directing a feature. So they looked for another sales agent, which was Horizon, and Horizon had been taking it to in this case, it wasn't really going to festivals, it was going to a lot of markets, right? So it was going to the Berlin, European film market and that sort of stuff. And unbeknownst to me, they actually sub-distributed to Celebrity Video, who has it now. So it was really funny, because it literally was, they called me sometime, actually after you guys programmed me, they called me and they said, "Hi, we're your new distributor." So I was like, "Who?" So yeah,
crazy.
Nothing like being on top of your own film, right? They said, "Yeah, so we're playing on this," and they didn't actually have a date for release. So I had no idea what they were actually going to be doing. So that was it was really surprising, just because and I have to thank the horror fans and people that are out there. I in the meantime made a short film called Doll Parts in between, right after Stained, in the fall. And it started getting programmed at a lot of festivals, and because of that, people were actually saying, "Oh, you have a feature, actually, could we take a look at it?" And so, it started getting a little bit of attention that way. And so when it actually released, really I had the nicest people do blogs and reviews and that sort of stuff, and it actually, without any stars or studio money or pretty well anything, huge festival releases of any sort, it premiered number 41 on iTunes, which was absolutely based on just the horror community. So I was absolutely blown away by that, and the fans basically kept it up there in the top 100 for 3 weeks, enough that I heard through the grapevine that Warner Brothers actually called my distributors and said, "What the hell are you doing?" Because they spend millions to do this. So,
well, that's one thing that I was going to ask you, because I was really wondering what kind of marketing that y'all put in, because
you guys basically, it's literally you and basically just the independent horror festivals. And I just thought to myself, this just gives me so much hope, because that means that if we actually all band together, basically we can get our stuff seen, and you don't need millions and millions to do it. You just need people who are willing to support it, and basically, it's actually based on nothing more than horror bloggers, reviewers, not even any kind of the big press sort of thing, and that's what actually kept it up there.
That's awesome. That's kind of, and actually, I'm surprised that more people haven't picked up on the movie and kind of contacted you for stories and stuff, just based on that there was no promotion really for it, and yet it
there was
got
absolutely
picked up.
Actually, I'm getting I think through the thing, I actually had a few publications, and it just takes a little bit of a lag time between that sort of thing. But it's just really nice because now, I'm getting more reviews and interviews and that sort of thing. But literally, the film, and this happened with Paranormal Activity too. And I'm not saying I'm Paranormal Activity, which is like in the film sphere, but it literally sat for 2 years, between it being finished and. I think even was it Paramount or who picked it up? They literally sat on it because they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know if it was any good. So,
No, that's become the new Saw. I saw a trailer for Paranormal Activity 3 the other day, and I'm just like, dear God. But
in the first one, literally, they finished it, and the studios were really nervous. They didn't know if it was any good, and it wasn't like it was actually a case study that at a course that I was taking on just marketing, and they sat on it for 2 years. They didn't want to release it, and the same thing happened with me where my actress Tinsel Corey is actually in Twilight, and my Canadian distributor E1 actually releases Twilight in Canada, and literally when the film finished and I put the trailer up there, we had like 5,000 hits in like a day or two, all because of Tinsel, and I thought that they would basically run with it, and literally they just kind of didn't know what to do with it. And I think this is a fantastic opportunity for all of us in the independent world, because it means that it's like the big guys don't necessarily know what they're doing, like you guys now are having like this, you have your own blog, you have your own podcast, you have your own, like, you don't have to wait for the mainstream radio to pick you up. You can already start promoting, right? Like
Exactly. That's why we started this, To not only give, an outlet for like you and other people like you, but, also to be, kind of our own little marketing, show just for, our film festival. But not only that, again, you guys. Yeah. So, but yeah, like what you're saying is true, and I can't believe that, like how you say it happened, because that's something that just doesn't happen.
But it does when you guys are behind it. You know what I mean? Like you actually make a huge difference.
She's saying that it definitely could happen if people just band together and kind of support each other.
Exactly, and that's kind of the way it should happen.
Right.
Because that was one thing I was. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, what you're doing is actually what you were saying at the very beginning of this podcast, which is that organic. It's about legitimate fans. Like we're making films because what we're seeing, and I'm not cutting Paranormal Activity 3 because I haven't seen it, but it's almost like once the studios get on top of it, all they do is remakes. There's no new stories. There's no new films.
Rehash of the same thing.
Well, it was like that. I've been seeing all those reviews for what is that movie? We saw the trailer. Was it Earl and Dan versus Evil, or what is the name of that movie?
Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and like everything that I hear about that movie is, it's at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which hardly ever happens. Right. Like Leonard Maltin gave it a good review, and he hates horror movies, and so like it's just blowing up everywhere, but yet, it wasn't good enough to release in the theater. Well, yet, the horror community has, taken it under its wing. It's become this little monster hit, kind of like Super. Super was kind of a little monster hit, and it did all its numbers on VOD and stuff like that. So I'm guessing that has Stain made its money back?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm sure that they'll. I'm sure my distributors will be doing. I actually have no idea. It's like it's a trickle up theory that doesn't work. So it trickles to everyone but me. Yeah.
As with most economics, exactly. Trickle.
Yeah, but the coolest thing about having things like the VOD, like whether it's Netflix or Amazon or iTunes or whatever you're getting it on, is the fact that it's almost, and instead of having like a theatrical release now, what I'm seeing is that the films are actually having a theatrical release through all the indie horror festivals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you do get to see it in the theater with an audience, but it's a different avenue than your Cineplex. It's
well, plus too, it's getting to the point, because me and Jesse have talked about this before, but it's getting to the point where I know, especially for myself, like if they started releasing the big stuff to VOD, Like, I wouldn't even go to the theater.
And it's a more economical way of watching movies, too. I mean, 'cause
and I think it would be a more economical way of getting them out there, too, because you're not sending print.
And not just that, but it's like what you were talking about.